Welcome to the adventure of One True Mmo. Skills. What are the skills needed to make an MMO? There are many, of course, and they can be divided in two broad categories. One is about creating, and the other category is about managing. The first it's about games, and the second it's about more of the business side of things. Right? We have management of resources, management of people, management of time, financial management. There are marketing and advertising dimensions to such an endeavor. Also communication. One will be working with teams, maybe different studios, possibly connections on many continents. So one may need also leadership skills to get everybody together, to coordinate, to motivate, and essentially get the job done, get to the finish line. Now, creating games has a different skill set, and we're going to talk about that now. Right? What does it take to create a video game MMO? Well, I think it's best we split them in different categories. There are skills that you need to make every game. It doesn't matter if it's a computer or a table game, right? You need creative skills. Either it's game design, simple imagination, or idea generation. You need narrative skills. Usually games need to have a beginning and an end, and a road between those 2 points. Even if the game, for example, there are people playing with a string. They can jump string, they can pull string. There are all sorts of games that can be made, and there's always a start of the game and an end of the game. Right? And there are rules, and those rules need to be knitted in a narrative for the game to be playable, let's say, or enjoyable. Though if it's about enjoyability, theatrical skills I think are the most important. A game needs to engage an individual, needs to draw that person in, and theatrical skills are best at doing that. Now, if we want to make a computer video game, then we will need, on top of these three, several more, like visual skills. This can be drawing, painting, animation, 3D modeling, visual effects, engineer, all sorts. Kinesthetic skills. These have to do with engaging with the game, either by joystick, by keyboard and mouse, by movement, if certain devices permit it. Right? We also have writing, and this I think writing is not necessarily obligatory for making games. There are plenty of games that do not need words, but in computer games, in order to pass sufficient information for the player, you need some sort of writing, some sort of image communication, some sort of a medium to transfer information, to communicate with the player. Now, of course, all these get clumped together by programming. Not clumped, but united together by programming. And of course, if you want to make a computer game, programming is probably the place you would want to start. But we also have sound skills, like sound effects, space positioning, very important. And music, I think it's a skill in itself, separate from just simple sound, because music has to engage sometimes emotions, feelings, states. And if this video game is to become an MMO later on, there are certain aspects that need to be crafted specifically for MMOs. Like the way people interact, there needs to be like the game has to be a medium of sorts that unites people. And you, as a MMO developer, you need to manage that. I would not want to say control that, but you need to have means to handle whatever diversity or creation force that people bring to an interaction. And also communication. Right? The people who made the game need to communicate with the people who play the game. And most of the time it's done through words. But there is sometimes other ways in which meaning can be passed from a person to another. And these communication skills are, in my opinion, super important for MMOs. Other games can go by, can be excused in a sense, but MMOs, especially good MMOs, need an extra dimension to communication. Yeah, to create that virtual environment where everybody gathers together, the developers need to communicate that feeling of the world, that sense of the world to the players. Yes, so there we have it. Right? Skills you need to make games, creative, narrative, theatrical. Skills you need to make computer video games, like visual, kinesthetic, writing, programming, of course, and sound and music. And especially important skills for making MMOs, like people skills and communication skills. There is one other question. Can a MMO be made by a single player, by a single individual? Can a MMO be made alone? And I think the answer to that is yes. But there are a few skills that are paramount, like unbelievably important. One seems to be common sense, like discipline. There are so many facets to a video game, and if you want to go on the MMO route, it's even more complicated. So the maker needs to have tremendous discipline to stay on track, to keep everything organized, to make the deadlines, to keep the vision going. Yeah. But also there is one other skill, right, an ability, and that is to shift, to change perspective whenever you need it. Sometimes you need to have the visual engineer hat. Sometimes you need to see things from the programmer's perspective. Sometimes you need a sound design ear. There are all these buckets of professions, yeah, that have their unique philosophy, their unique way they see things, or the different levels of importance between aspects of a video game. And if one is to do an MMO alone, needs to be able to change their perspective whenever the task ask for it, right? Whenever a certain problem requires a specific way of thinking, that person needs to be able to shift his mindset in order to solve that situation and move forward, of course. Yeah, these are probably the most important and should be the first to be tackled. I think the rest, especially the business one, can be acquired later on. And if one is to start alone, but later on start a team, create a team, then one can delegate other aspects of game creation to other people. So these 11, I think they are the basis, the column of strength in the creation of video games, of MMO video games. That's it for now. Thank you.